Hello and welcome to Professional Skills 2, Lesson 18. Today's lesson is on applying leadership style. I'm Eloise from the Boston Media House in Durban. Let's recap Lesson 16 on leadership. Did you do the concept quiz? Do you recall what points we said a good boss should display? Why is effective leadership important in the workplace? Think about these questions and then answer them in your lecture. Today we are going to be developing your understanding of leadership with these learning outcomes. You should be able to formulate goals for developing your own leadership potential. You should understand the importance of leadership in the media industry, explain transactional leaders and how they get things done through people, understand transformational leadership and its relevance to change processes, and evaluate and discuss various leader behaviors and styles. And you should be able to differentiate between different leadership styles, be able to apply appropriate leadership styles to a situation, and be able to assess yourself as followers in terms of readiness, willingness, and ability. Because as you know, leadership is in your future, we hope, but you should also be able to be a follower for now until you've built up your abilities and your experience in your industry. For this section, you'll need to refer to pages 214 to 228 of your textbook, so please do revisit that section before you come to your class. What great leaders actually do. Watch this video by Brendan Burchard so that you can discuss the questions on the next slide. Who do you consider to be a great leader? And why do you consider them a great leader? How is understanding what makes them a great leader relevant to your life and your career? My hopes is that in answering these questions, you understand the kind of leader that you would like to be one day. You can use the mentorship of leaders that you have experienced in order to be a great leader. And you can also be aware of the kinds of mistakes that leaders make and try to avoid those in your own life. Now you should watch this video by Tim David. Which is your leadership style? And then we will analyze them on the next slide. This graphic on the left represents the different types of leaders that the video explained, going from a babysitter to a boss to a supervisor, a manager, a coach and visionary, and then the most evolved of all, a servant leader. So a servant leader is somebody who views their role not as domination or control, but serving those they lead. And I have definitely found this in my analysis of leaders that I admire. I always seem to be drawn to leaders who don't enrich themselves. They are not greedy. They are not selfish. They are not on power trips, but they really do serve the people that they lead. And this can be on a small scale, as in it can be your lecturer in the classroom, it can be the manager of your campus, it can be one of your parents or grandparents who are a leader in the home, and it can also go to a national leadership level of prime ministers and presidents throughout history who have approached the role of leadership as a mindset of serving the people. And serving the people doesn't mean saying yes to everything that they want and giving people exactly what they want. That is not leadership. But servant leadership means that your number one priority is the well-being of the people you lead. And when you are a leader in a media organization, you could try and incorporate that by ensuring that your team, the people who report to you, are all very well taken care of, in that they have the resources that they need, in that if they have questions, they have answers, and also that you help them to develop their own careers. So it's not just about getting their job done and getting a job done well. It's about helping them take steps to improve themselves as people and improve themselves as employees, and one day to grow out of the role that they're currently in. So you can then analyze, what type of leader are you? And if you think, oh, I'm not a leader, think about the times that you've had group projects where you have taken the lead in helping delegate different roles, or organizing an event with friends or family and you've been responsible for making sure certain things are completed, that counts as leadership. Even if you don't have a title, you don't have to be named, the leader of the family or the dance coordination committee. You can simply take on leadership by helping guide a project to completion. That is what leaders do. It's not necessarily about meting out punishment and reward for tasks well done or not done. And it's not all about title. Could you or should you aspire to develop another leadership style? Because each of these leadership styles, although we might be looking at the evolved servant leader, other styles are still necessary to get things done in some situations, depending on how experienced your team is and things like that, and whether you're in a crisis or not. In a crisis, we tend to go lower on the evolution scale towards supervisory and manager behavior, perhaps, because stuff needs to get done now. And yeah, so just because babysitter is down at the bottom doesn't mean that occasionally that won't be the style that's necessary for the situation. Have you ever experienced leaders who see themselves as servants to the people they lead? What were they like? So I know what my list of servant leaders looks like, but I would like you to consider your own. So once you've completed these discussions in class, which will take up most of the time in the classroom, complete the application questions on page 227 of your textbook. Once you have completed those reflection questions, you can create an action plan on page 228. Because professional skills is not just about your knowledge and understanding, it's about actually changing your behavior and becoming a better version of yourself. And we've also discussed how setting goals and understanding a plan of action is going to get you ahead. So it's one thing to think, oh, I should be this kind of leader, and a whole other thing to understand the steps that you need to take to get there. So I really hope that you take advantage of this opportunity to develop yourself, because once you are in a leadership role, it's important to already have an outline of the kind of leader that you want to be rather than muddling through it at the expense of your team. Change management is an extremely important and emerging part of management and leadership, which is definitely something that you need to be aware of. And that's something that we're going to cover in the next lesson. So I hope that you do your prep and you are present and able to take part